Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Imagine your country is in crisis. The currency is collapsing, banks are shaking, and the government is running out of dollars. Suddenly, the International Monetary Fund arrives with emergency money, but it comes with conditions: cut spending, raise interest rates, and privatize assets. For decades, this was the Washington Consensus playbook. Supporters said these policies would restore discipline. Critics said they deepened recessions and punished ordinary people. But not every country obeyed. Some followed the rules and others rebelled. This is the story of the countries that accepted the orthodox path, those that built walls against financial panic, and the dramatic consequences of their choices. The Asian financial crisis of 1997 was the ultimate test. It began in Thailand and spread rapidly. Thailand, Indonesia, and South Korea turned to the IMF for rescue, but at a high cost. Governments had to raise interest rates and cut spending. In Indonesia, food prices soared, leading to mass unrest and the fall of President Suharto. In South Korea, citizens even donated gold to repay the national debt. After 1997, many Asian countries decided they would never be in that position again. They built huge foreign reserves and became far more cautious about global financial openness. Latin America experienced this logic even earlier. In the 1980s and 90s, Bolivia adopted shock therapy to crush hyperinflation. It worked, but it brought massive unemployment and social pain. Mexico followed a similar path of privatization and deregulation, but in 1994, the peso crisis proved that when investor confidence disappears, money rushes out even faster than it entered. The most dramatic example was post-Soviet Russia. The rapid move to capitalism encouraged by Western advisors resulted in social collapse. Inflation destroyed savings while state assets were sold to a small elite. Russia became a warning. Removing the state before building institutions can turn reform into looting. Markets do not create trust or fairness automatically. In sub-Saharan Africa, structural adjustment often meant introducing user fees for healthcare and education. The state became smaller, but ordinary citizens became far more exposed to poverty. For these citizens, austerity was not an economic theory. It was the daily struggle of rising food prices and disappearing public support. Then came the rebels. In 1998, Malaysia's Mahathir Mohamad refused an IMF bailout. Instead, he imposed capital controls, fixing the currency and blocking offshore trading. Western economists predicted disaster. But Malaysia recovered faster than many expected. They showed that when markets panic, the answer isn't always to surrender. Sometimes the answer is to stop the panic from moving. China and India offer a different lesson. They maintained cautious controls over capital flows long term. During the 1997 storm, these controls acted like floodgates, protecting them from speculative flight. They proved that full financial openness isn't always good. Sometimes keeping the gates partially closed is what prevents the whole city from drowning. Even rich countries broke the rules. In 2008, Iceland let its major banks fail and protected domestic depositors instead of foreign creditors. They even prosecuted banking executives. Iceland showed that even advanced economies need the state to step in. Even the IMF began to change its thinking, acknowledging that capital controls could be useful in a crisis. Finally, there is Argentina. In the 90s, it was the poster child for IMF reform, pegging its peso to the dollar. But the system was fragile, and in 2001 it collapsed spectacularly. The government defaulted, banks froze deposits, and poverty exploded. Argentina swung from total compliance to total rebellion, rejecting austerity and restoring a more interventionist state. The global crisis era divided the world. One side says trust the market, the other says protect society. The record shows that capital freedom is not the same as national freedom. A country that opens itself completely may gain investment in good times, but it loses control in bad times. In a crisis, the question is what a society can survive. In our next video, we'll explore how these institutions continue to shape the choices available to nations today. Like, subscribe, and share if you found this helpful. Thanks for watching.